Guys, it's a big day for us. You know what next episode is?
Why? What?
Well, I can't be excited about it.
We can't use all of the episode 100 material on episode 99.
We're not going to use any of it.
Okay.
We're not going to use any of it. But do you know what it is next week?
It's what you're. That's what you're. It feels like that's what you're doing right now, though. Is the
No,
thing.
it'll be episode 100 next week. But like, that's
Yeah.
not. We can't get excited about that now.
Okay, you
I've got it all
are
out.
visually excited about it right now, so I don't really understand what you're trying to say.
Here, I'll calm down. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Recenter. Give me an om. I'm doing
Was that good?
2 different fingers.
I know it timed out on Discord, but I kept going. I think there was some dissonance there between the two of us, but that's okay.
Well, that's good. That's what makes a good song. You know.
I don't think I could disagree more.
You want dissonance, like interesting textures.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
when I hear someone sing, I want it to actually sound like it's two people singing. One of them singing like B flat, and the other one is singing, I don't know, just C.
G major.
So they're like close, but
I
not
think
quite close enough.
sometimes bad singers are like good singers, in a way, because it's like
Trippie Redd.
you know when like have you ever heard someone who like they went to choir when they were younger or whatever, and they can do like the full scale, they can do the fee fi fo fum, and it's like perfect, and they're just fucking annoying about it. They're like, do you know this song from this one musical
This is actually,
that I know you've
maybe
never
you don't
heard
know.
of?
This is a so, right? So,
Yeah.
great. Yeah, see, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't get it. Me.
Or those people who like you knock on a door and they're like, oh, that's D flat. Shut up,
it's not.
bro. it's knocking on a
feel like-
door.
Let's be honest. I think if you had perfect pitch, it would be way more annoying because every time you were ever in any scenario ever, someone would just be like, "Hey, Jackson, Jackson, right? Listen to this.
Yeah.
What note was that? Tell me. Come on. You have perfect pitch, don't you? What note was that?"
It was,
and you'd be like,
it was
it's
B minor
it's a
7th,
fucking-
obviously. B minor
Right.
7th, whatever.
Yeah, duh. Like I know that, but you guys don't. And they'd be like, "Wow, yay!" And then they would,
Good
like, clap and
job,
stuff.
Jackson. Good job.
I'm only saying this because I have a friend who's perfect pitch. She does that all the time, and she's
Yeah.
like, "Nah."
I mean, that's definitely
So-
like, it's like being bald. Every time you meet someone bald, you have to be like,
Can you lean down so I can like rub your forehead and like look at my
do you
t-shirt?
use
Yeah.
shampoo? Like, I don't really understand.
Do you use shampoo? Like, does your head smell? Like, do you use shampoo to like make it like like for sanitary purposes?
What about the oils? I've heard about the oils. Can you talk a little bit about
Do you rub
that?
like lavender, like essential oil? on your head?
lavender?
So just so it like smells nice, and it's like shiny.
I used to have when I was like way younger, and I got like my first laptop. I had it was like the default like background was like a lavender field. They were like these lavender bushes
That's
and stuff
beautiful.
like that. It was like some real like PBS type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like some public broadcast service ass
dude,
stock
I'm aware.
footage.
Those were kind of the days, though. No,
If I could live fucking anywhere in the whole world, I would live in a lavender field.
I feel like I would love that, other than at the beginning of the spring and allergy season, and then I would want to kill myself.
Well, it would
because I
smell
was
good, though.
literally. But I wouldn't be able to smell it. I'd just be like, I'd be writhing in agony.
Yeah.
You know,
But it'd be like, but you would have so many different cool like soaps and
I would, yeah. And I'd like
candles
put them
and
all in
stuff.
like waxes and stuff, and I'd make candles and soap and other wax related products like wax lips.
yeah,
you know?
okay.
But they'd be lavender and they'd be like kind of purple. They'd be cool.
Here's something I was thinking about the other day. You know how like if you get stung by a bee, it loses its stinger and then it dies.
Right.
Why?
Which is so sad.
Like it's
Seems kind of
maybe like
not
this is
advantageous for
this
them.
is intuitively a like kid question. Like kids understand what bees are, obviously, because it's like the
Right.
scariest thing of all time. But like, why
Right,
do they
other
have
than
to?
quicksand and the Bermuda Triangle?
Why do they have to die when they sting? It is not very advantageous for them at all, really.
It's not, but like I'd like to think about it like this. Like, could you think about how epic of a moment it must be for a bee to like you know that moment in like a show, we'll say, and there's like an epic fight scene, and the main character they give their all for the final blow to the big bad villain.
It's like when
You know,
Obi-Wan
and it
is
takes
fighting
like
Anakin on the lava world.
yeah, he doesn't die though.
He gets
Sorry,
close.
spoilers. He gets close, but he
Don't
doesn't
say
do it.
spoilers. It's a 50-year-old movie.
I don't fucking know, man. I guess I shouldn't say. I was just because I was about to say maybe kids haven't seen
It's
it, and then I just
Star
said I don't
Wars,
fucking
man.
know. So I guess maybe I shouldn't have said that.
No kids are watching this right now.
We don't know that. I want you to
feel
know.
like I know that.
This is a really bad segue, but I'm going to tell you right now. We won't move on yet. I just want to add something really quick.
Okay.
Sam told me today. He was like, Henry, I finally I watched an episode of your and Jackson's podcast yesterday. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, you did?
What did he say
Like,
about it?
I was like, do you miss me? He was like, no. I was like, he was like, but I finally watched an episode yesterday. He was like, you guys are pretty funny.
I fucking
I was
hate
like,
that
thanks,
guy,
man. Yeah, do you? I don't think Sam is a kid. That's not why I brought it up. I just wanted to let you
He
know.
probably doesn't know why bees die after they get stung either, man.
No one fucking knows why they die, but they have to, they
Does
gotta
science
like,
not know?
like, fuck, they probably do, but I'm not science and neither are you.
That's true. But like, is it like one of those things where it's like connected to like their heart in some way? It's like one of the walls of the heart. So when the stinger falls out, it's like, all the blood leaves their heart or something
I'm
like.
telling you, it's got to be like
It
it's
protrudes like in there. I'm pretty sure.
It's the All Might, like 100% one for all punch that fucking kills you when you use it.
I know, but All Might has like some like strength that he like summons from the god or some shit. I stopped watching it season 3.
Yeah, that's okay.
But bees, it's like
maybe they summon the strength from their queen.
it's like how you have like eyebrows. You know what I mean?
Right.
What if like
I'm familiar with the concept.
Could you imagine if you ripped an eyebrow off and then you just died? You just were splayed out on the floor.
But
and
I feel like I feel like it's more comparable to like I wouldn't rip off an eyebrow as like some sort of defensive tactic,
Well, the blades are sharp on your eyebrow.
Bees are inherently dispensable. The queen makes hundreds of thousands of bees.
Right.
Which is kind of fucked up if you think about it. Like each bee has a soul or whatever. But the bees are like soldiers, so they can die for their hives. Soldiers.
Sojourner truth.
See what we did there?
Yeah.
That's right. And they want to die for their queen, So when they die, the queen's just like, oh shit, there goes Barry B. Benson. I guess I'll just make another one.
Yeah.
Which is sad, but like I think bees are just very simple. I guess I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think they are either. I'm not a biologist.
I think
who studies
creatures
bugs?
are inherently complicated.
It's a study of insects.
Study of insects. Bugtology is my guess.
I should know this because my entomology is study of insects. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not an entomologist. So maybe bees, I'm sure bees are very complicated because they look weird.
They're fucked up for sure. Like, why are they the fat ones? What's up with that?
No, I like the fat ones. They're cute.
I'm not saying I dislike the fat ones. I'm just like, why?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Like, it's not
They're
like,
so big yet so
bears have to
small.
get fat because they have to like hibernate and stuff. I
Right.
know that's like a lie or whatever. They don't actually sleep for like 8 months straight.
But they do a lot of sleeping.
They do quite a bit of sleeping. So it makes
They might do, like, a
sense that they
month
would have
on.
to do, a big sort of Thanksgiving situation to be able to, you get the camel hump belly food when you sleep, so you eat in the sleep. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, bees live for an average of 30 days. So
Yeah.
I think maybe the bees might just be a little bit dispensable.
I'm saying bees, they could make them smaller.
You think so?
And that might be
Like ants.
like the fat bees might be more fuel efficient for them to have less.
I think you're right.
You know what I mean? Like,
But they have to carry all the pollen, and they can't carry as much pollen if they're so small.
it's just on their ass.
Okay, so they still got to have a big ass.
I guess so. But then you could just do more trips because you're more fuel efficient.
And then I guess they would just make more bees.
And you could make more bees because every
make
bee
more
you
bees
have
'cause
to
they're
make is
smaller.
less bee.
Right. That's exactly right.
So we got to think about like, it's sort of like the efficiency economics curve,
But I feel like not all bees die after they sting, right?
I'm pretty sure all bees die after they sting.
I don't
If
know
that's not true, why would every first grader know that?
That's true. Well, and why would some bees die after they sting and some don't?
Well, like wasps aren't bees, right? They can sting multiple times.
No, they're just made of evil, I think.
Yeah,
actually.
that's just pure. That's Calamity Ganon in
I
tiny
mean,
form.
like wasps, unironically, do not exist like for some sort of biological purpose other than to harm.
Yeah, that's all.
Like
they've
just lived this long because they kill stuff.
They found like some sort of evil.
They found their
stone
niche.
That gives them all their
What?
powers and stuff like
Bees
that.
die after stinging. Oh, only honeybees die. Oh, okay. So, I've got a little fact for us here.
I would love
you were
a
actually
fact.
you were pretty damn close. You were almost right on the money.
What can I say, guys? I
Apparently-
am recently graduating college, so this is
Dude, I know.
my degree.
When do you
going to
graduate?
use. Next week, Friday.
Okay, I graduate in 3 days.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, what's your fact?
woo. Anyway, only honeybees die after stinging. The reason is due to they have barbed stingers. Their stingers have barbs on them.
Okay.
Why they would design them that way, I have no idea, because we're about to find out that is to the bee's detriment. When a honeybee stings, the stinger becomes lodged in the skin, and when the bee tries to pull away, it ruptures its abdomen, leaving the stinger, venom sac, and part of its internal organs behind, leaving
Yeah.
it to die.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like low-key, and that's like on them.
That's stupid. Yeah, they should figure that one out.
If I don't think I would have like my final move of defense to be like, oh, I'm going to punch you with my arm, but like my knuckles are attached. My knuckles actually contain like one of the valves of my heart.
Right.
So when I punch you, it just explodes. Like that just seems
You're
like kind of
telling
a
me
bad idea.
The Jerry Seinfeld bee universe haven't figured out like a hospital to like fix this shit?
I think that was like the whole point of the movie. Didn't they try and do that? And the guy lived? They
Oh, I
replaced
guess
his
that's
stinger?
true. Yeah, he had like the toothpick that you put through the olive as a stinger.
Yeah, but they haven't done that in real life. Real bees have not done that yet.
And then I think Kramer called someone the N-word, but
Yeah, that was part of the bee movie.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show.
Yep.
We
Hey,
love
guys.
Kramer from Seinfeld. He's a great
No,
guy.
we don't. We do not.
I especially
You
love
can
when
separately, if
I
you'd
love his
like.
comedy. It's very good for the soul
Okay.
and for the heart.
I'm glad that you feel that way.
And that's an
I don't think
opinion that I hold.
I'm gonna publicly denounce that sentiment, but you, as half of Waste Management, can say that.
Waste Management also declares that ball is life.
That I can hey, preach the word of the gospel, brother,
Yeah.
because that's true. And you
That's
want that's probably why
100% true.
bees don't live for very long, man. They can't ball. They have no purpose.
Yeah, they can't play basketball, which sucks. What animal, if they could play basketball, would be the best at basketball? Probably kangaroo, right?
Like a kangaroo or like what about like an unexpected pick? I feel like the ostrich. I feel like would go crazy at basketball.
How does it get the ball in there?
That was the part that I was unsure about.
Okay, so maybe not the
But
ostrich
I feel like
then.
well, if they could play basketball, okay. Kangaroos can't play basketball either. But anatomically, I think it makes sense. But like ostriches are really fast.
Right.
They're pretty strong too. I feel like if you could like pick the ball up with your beak, kind of like, and with like a little alley oop onto the top of your head and you throw it in, that could be cool. That could work well for them.
I think the trouble is getting the ball. It would need some other animal to pass it onto its head, I think.
I don't know. I think with some aggressive offense, they could get the ball. They're strong
Because they don't
and they're
have like
fast.
arms, man.
But they do have a very solid midsection. They've got the legs, and then they've got
Okay.
like where the head comes out, like where the wings are on the side.
Yeah.
I feel like you could kind of just do like a little bit of
The
little
wings just
shoulder.
don't do anything for it, I guess. That's my thing.
I agree in basketball, but like you could just like kind of like shoulder.
I
check
will say
people
it's like a
still.
big threatening animal,
Oh yeah. I mean, their slightly smaller cousin, the emu, was able to win a war against Australia.
That's
Imagine what the
true.
bigger one could do.
Be shit at basketball.
I think it would be all right. I think maybe you're right. Maybe it would have a tough time shooting, but not everyone in basketball is a shooter,
Right. There's like
They could just play some
linemen
offense.
and stuff
Yeah,
like
I
that.
think they could play like the quarterback,
Right.
I think.
They could play left center field.
They could be the striker of sorts of the basketball team.
Yeah. I think look, we got to branch out from ostrich, okay? There's bears.
That's true.
There's
I'm trying to think of like the alpha like apex predators of the animal kingdom.
gorilla,
The gorilla's a good one.
a silverback, if you will. Their
Yes.
back could be silver, and that might.
I feel like they
help
would have a tough time
camouflage.
getting into the air.
I don't think they
'Cause
need
they're
to get
big.
into the air because they're probably like the height of the hoop. They could just reach
yeah,
up.
with like the arms. Yeah, they could.
If we
probably-
put some
What about
bananas
orangutans?
around the rim, I think they would figure it out pretty quick.
I think you're probably.
Orangutan is too slow and too small, too stumpy.
No, they're so strong though.
They're stumpy.
They're kind of just like a slower version of the gorilla. Though.
LeBron fucking washes an orangutan every day of the week.
I think an orangutan would kill LeBron.
I disagree entirely.
That's okay. I mean, I think in basketball, the orangutan loses 10 times out of 10. But I think, unfortunately, after enraging the orangutan, I don't know that our boy LeBron survives.
I think
I hope he
LeBron
does.
fucking he can rip 2 big bong rips before the game, and then he can do some jukes and then slap the orangutan in the face. He doesn't care
Like, it's
about like
weird
the
flaps.
foul or whatever. He just goes and he
Right.
fucking dunks that shit because he's LeBron. And
Mm-hmm.
then he after that, like it's like a wash. It's like 81-0 in this hypothetical 1v1. And then afterwards, he's doing like the interviews and he's like all sweating. He's wiping the sweat from his brow. He's like, yeah, I just get out there. I try my best. And then he flies to New York City and he spends $2 billion on a soda company. Like, I don't even think this is a highlight in his life in any way.
No, it's probably not. You're right. I think it's a highlight for zoologists everywhere, though, that they got an orangutan to face off against LeBron.
I think PETA might be against this idea.
Yeah, sure, maybe they would, but they're not fun. When have they ever
But there
been
are, like,
interesting?
Other people who care about animals and stuff.
He's not shooting him. He's just embarrassing him. And like no one expected the orangutan to win. LeBron's been playing for like 30 fucking years or whatever.
Well, then why is the orangutan on the damn court then? This is what I'm saying. It would not be fucking good at basketball.
Do you think that the silverback gorilla could beat LeBron at basketball?
Yes, 100%.
Really?
100%. The gorilla is 3 times as large as LeBron.
Well, that's what I think it just kills him. I don't think he cares about the art of the game.
I'm saying if you put the bananas on the rim,
Sure.
you get it to figure it out pretty damn quick. Okay, animals are smart. You ever seen Life of
They are.
Pi?
No.
Richard Parker.
You talk about the tiger?
The tiger's name is Richard Parker.
No.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
They gave him a human name, and his human name is 2 first names.
Well, so the story is like the hunter that found the tiger, his name was Richard Parker, and then he found the tiger as like a cub or something like that. And
He named it after himself.
he named it Thirsty because it like drank a lot. I think I don't
It's
remember.
like a
It's
big
been a
ass
while
cat,
since I've
man.
seen the movie.
I think they just need a lot of water.
But then like the hunter like transferred the tiger to like the zoo where like the main character's family like runs the zoo or whatever.
Right.
And in the paperwork, the name of the tiger and the name of the hunter get mixed up. And then the family thinks it's really funny, so they just keep the name Richard Parker for the tiger.
That's actually that is pretty good. I like that one.
Richard Parker. It's a great movie, man.
I haven't seen Life of Pi.
It's awesome, dude. Like, Because what would happen if you put a tiger and a guy on a boat?
I don't know. I don't think.
I feel like you could figure it out, though.
I feel like I feel like I can figure it out, and I don't think that whoever wrote that book thought about that being a possibility. He sort of investigates the ideas of friendship. You know,
I don't know if he investigates
at least from what
It's more of like a survival necessity.
Are they not? Does Richard Parker kill Pi?
No, but they're on they're on a boat, and then they have to get on a lifeboat because the boat fucking sinks.
Right.
So it's you with a tiger on a lifeboat in the middle of the ocean, with 90 days worth of canned beans and shit.
Okay, why doesn't the tiger just kill and eat me?
Because he needs you for survival. How is the tiger gonna drink water?
He like leans over the edge of the boat.
They're in the ocean, man. It's salt. You can't drink
does
that
the tiger
shit.
know that?
I feel like animals would know that, yeah.
I guess so. Well,
I don't
so
think
is there
animals
water
are
on the
that
boat
dumb.
too? There's water on the lifeboat.
I think there is a little bit of water on the lifeboat, but eventually that shit runs out because you're stranded.
Isn't this tiger's real name Thirsty? Isn't Pi cooked from the beginning? It seems like there's a lot of flaws in this book.
I'm not saying it's perfect, but you know.
When I was in LA this past weekend, my mom and I saw like a poster at the local theater, and they were showing like a showing of Life of Pi.
Yeah.
My mom was like, I didn't really like that book. It didn't make a lot of sense. And now I understand what she meant.
It doesn't have to make a lot of sense. It has to light a fire in you.
What is the moral of this story?
You can friend with it at all.
I think
is that not beautiful, man?
No, it is. I saw a video like a week ago of this guy. There's like an alligator coming out of this fucking pond. I'm sure it's in fucking Florida, of course.
Yeah.
And this guy's like, "Oh, come here," and like it's just a dude standing next to a grill, and he just starts feeding him chicken thighs.
Yeah.
Like off the grill. He just takes him off the grill and gives him the alligator, and then the alligator just sits there and it lets him pet him.
Yeah, they like it.
The man just kind of like, pats him on the head. And then he just walks back into the water. Like nothing ever fucking happened. They're best friends.
But if you were on a boat with a tiger, not only is it we have to be friends, but we have to survive, How do you get food to eat when you run out of the food? You get fish in the ocean, and you
could.
And Pi gets the fish and he feeds it to Richard Parker.
And Richard Parker, he cannot fish. He has no thumbs.
Little known fact about Richard Parker as well, he's like close cousins with the Spider-Man.
Peter Parker?
Yeah, it's true.
Dude, that sucks. I wonder how he feels about his uncle dying. Do you think Ben Parker is Richard Parker's dad?
Who is Ben Parker?
Peter's uncle who always...
spoilers. Right.
Peter's uncle who always dies.
He does die, yeah.
He dies canonically for, I think, like every Spider-Man or something like that.
Well, someone's got to die. The movie's got to have a second pinch point.
Well, the movie just has to have a character that says, with great power comes great responsibility, and then dies.
It's dangerous to go alone. Take this.
Yeah, and then they give you a sword. Spider-Man should have a sword.
And he whips out a pizza box with his dick in it.
Okay. That's kind of like a sword.
Not really.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of innuendos where the dick is referred to as a sword. I don't know. That makes sense.
Speaking of dicks that are also swords, I got some smack to talk.
Okay.
About game inventor Rick Wallace.
About game inventor Rick Wallace. All right. Are you upset about the fish? You know what? Actually,
y'all might be aware of the fishdle. It is
love this game.
It is a
It might be
Wordle
my favorite game of all time.
Like game.
This is a tough one.
Where you get an outline of a fish, and sometimes there's a lot of letters, and you have to guess what the fish is.
Yeah.
And there's the man I like that he says he invented the game.
I mean,
it's not, he didn't make the game, he invented it. Rick Wallace, okay? Because he's a genius man who invents things.
He's a tackler.
He's a tackle master.
He made the website tacklevillage.com/fishdle-game/.
Yes. I just think, here's my issue with the fishdle, okay? Because I log on every day because I want to improve my knowledge of fish, obviously. That's a thing that is important to me and should be important to you as well, to be more cultured in worldly things, right? So I log on and I expect it to be like, not softball shit, but maybe you could throw me like a rainbow trout. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you could throw me what's a fish? Lungfish.
Well, they did, and you did not like that one.
Well, I didn't like it because a lungfish is an abject horror from beyond this realm.
It is.
Game inventor Rick Wallace throws some shit that does not actually exist in the real world. The lungfish did not exist until Rick Wallace put it on his stupid ass fucking website.
That's
like 2
not
days
true.
ago.
Because I guessed it on the first try.
And that's just because he emailed you. Because Game inventor Rick Wallace, you're close.
Yeah.
And he gave you the answer ahead of time because this is all a secret CIA ploy to make me look stupid for not knowing fucking fish. But I do know fish. I just don't know any of the fish that he serves up, game inventor Rick Wallace. Some stupid
I'm telling
bullshit,
you,
man. Give me jellyfish. We haven't seen jellyfish.
We haven't.
Why? That's
true.
A fish. That's one of the fish, man.
I don't think they are fish, technically.
What do you mean? It's in the damn water.
That's not what that means. Which species is
I get it, like
jellyfish?
frogs live in the water, but they're like different, right? And like dolphins are technically different, but that's a fucking fish, man. They look like fish.
You're gonna hate this one.
I hate everything. I hate game inventor Rick Wallace.
I understand. Apparently jellyfish are...
Just tell me they're a fucking brain that floats around. Just tell me they're fucking nerves.
That is true. That is a fact. You just stated true...
Dude.
True.
Tell me they're just fucking brain waves floating around in space forever.
No,
so stupid, bro.
But they're invertebrate. They're not. Fish are not invertebrate. They have spines and bones and stuff. Jellyfish have no bones. They can't be fish.
Why do fish have to have bones? Who gives a shit?
I guess they don't. I don't know.
Shit in the water is fish, bro.
Do you think coral are fish?
That's a plant. That's different.
They're not plants.
Plants are different from animals. We know this.
I agree.
And
but
coral
I
is
don't
plants.
Think no, it's not.
Corals is plants.
Okay. They look like plants, but they're not plants.
Is a tree a mammal?
No.
Obviously.
That's a plant.
So then coral's not a fucking fish, man.
I don't think it's a plant.
Coral's
I'm pretty sure they're not
How is coral
plants.
literally any different than seaweed?
Because coral is made of fucking little like guys.
Is that not what seaweed is?
No, seaweed's a plant.
What are plants made out of then?
Plant cells and animal cells are different. I don't know 100% what coral is made out of, and I'm not going to claim that. But it says right here that jellyfish are closely related to anemones and coral. So I'm going to assume that coral is alive.
What the fuck is an I'm not even going to try.
You know the thing that Nemo lives in? That's an anemone.
I don't fuck with Nemo. We're not getting into Nemo territory right now. This is for 500 level professors, not me, okay?
Okay.
I need to... Okay.
6,000.
Plants are made out of cells.
Plant cells, yes. And animals are also made out of cells.
Yes, but they're different. Animal cells have the mitochondria and stuff, and plant cells have chlorophyll, I think.
They do.
So coral...
They have chloroplasts.
Coral is basically... They should have like the pink version of chlorophyll. Because they don't get the sun, they just get the water, I think.
Corals are cnidarians. I don't know how to... The word is spelled C-N... There's no vowel in between them. It's C-N-I Darian.
Okay.
Cnidarians. Coral are a phylum of aquatic invertebrate. So they are animals, which is weird.
But how? I don't understand. How is it an animal?
This should help your argument, because if that means that it's an animal, then that means that jellyfish are animals, which means that maybe they could be on the fishdle.
Does coral shit, poop, and cum?
I don't think so.
Out of its cum areas.
I don't know. It does.
Then it's not an animal as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
If it has like some pollen, like mushroom spores kind of thing, honestly, then it's a mushroom, so it's a plant. If it doesn't fuck, it's a plant. As far actually, I think I've defined something new.
Coral has egg and sperm. It's an animal.
What? How? How do they have sex?
I don't know.
This can't be right. This is not. None of this existed until we looked it up.
Well, okay. So, okay. Maybe you're right. So corals can reproduce. Hey, I'm gonna give you some credit right here because they can also reproduce asexually, just like fungi.
Oh my god,
which are
they're
plants.
like fucking lizards.
But they can also reproduce sexually. I don't know why they do both.
Why can they do both? So, what actually, they're like some secret third thing because I don't know of stuff that can do both.
They can do both. I don't either.
So then coral is just coral.
I guess
it's not
so.
a fucking fish.
So then it's separate. But jellyfish and anemones are also related to coral. They're apparently made of the same shit.
I don't even want to tiptoe near jellyfish because that feels like a that feels like a thing for God to keep to himself. To be honest,
I think so. I don't know what we're supposed to know.
I don't want to. That's an otherworldly creature.
This was like my shit, man. I used to love fish and marine animals when I was a kid. I wanted to be a marine biologist, like fucking Jotaro
Wallace.
Kujo.
Oh
no, Rick Wallace is a fucking tackler. That's totally different.
Okay,
I get what you're saying
because like I feel like that world.
It should be like the fish on here should be like on river monsters. It shouldn't be like the lungfish. Maybe lungfish.
Coral would never be on river monsters. That's the definition of what a fish is.
Fresh.
If you can't be on river monsters, then you're not a fish.
Are a freshwater fish. Okay, interesting. Because I feel like so the other day we had the lungfish, right? That was the fishdle of the day. We didn't like that one.
I cursed Rick Wallace's name for that day.
You cursed Rick Wallace's name. But the lungfish is a freshwater fish. You would see them on river monsters. They live among us in the rivers. Isn't that terrifying?
This is
if
why
I saw one of those ever, I'd kill myself on spot.
Yes, 100%. I would. I'm not even joking. I would give myself third-degree burns from a blowtorch because I would want to burn the germs that have touched my legs from the water.
I just don't like how they look. They're just weird.
Can you imagine a human calling you something this repulsive?
I mean, to be fair, if I was a lungfish, I'm sure I'd feel the same way about us. I just want to say. You live your whole life.
A whole different,
well, that's what I'm saying. I'm sure fish think that we look weird as hell also. That's why all my fish swim on the edge of the tank because they're always looking at me like, what the fuck is that guy?
Yeah, I don't... Sure.
Why does he have appendages? Why isn't his body like a big round thing with like fins on it, you know?
I think your fish look at you because you're the only thing that they ever see that moves.
What about their friends?
Apart from their friends. You're the thing in the outside world. You know what I'm saying?
I guess that's true.
Do you think fish see the water?
That's a good question.
Like, you know how we don't see air because we breathe it?
Well, but that's also because it's like fully transparent.
But what if the fish see the air, but they don't see the water because the water is their air?
I feel like that's not. I feel like they don't see the water around them, but that's just because it's clear. I think if it was murky enough, they would see it.
Well, yeah, it's like fog.
Yeah.
But when we see fog, we don't say it as like, oh, I see the air. I'm seeing a lot of air right now.
I guess you're right.
We wake up and we go, damn, it's foggy outside, man. I got to turn the brights on.
So is that what they say when they like swim and the tank is like not clean? They're like, damn.
They're like, yeah,
it's like we're swimming in Fish London right now.
Yeah. This shit looking like Beijing.
Yeah. Poor people of Beijing.
With all its damn smog, you know?
Yeah. So you hate Rick Wallace. I love Rick Wallace. I actually, if I'm being totally honest, I think if we met in real life, we probably wouldn't get along, but I love his game.
You love that he invented that game as well.
I didn't say that.
Because he's the game inventor.
I do think it's funny that it doesn't even say like, he doesn't even say I invented the game. It just says like game inventor Rick Wallace.
Like it's a title that you can put on your resume.
I wonder if I could find him on LinkedIn.
Yeah, game inventor of you might know it, Fishdle. It's got millions of hits.
It's got millions of hits. I think,
You
unfortunately,
can get it
Fishdle
on
doesn't.
Steam.
It does not have millions of hits.
It might. I mean, shit, you might have given it 1 million hits at this point.
I might have, yeah.
I'm just saying. I think Rick Wallace needs to fucking shape up or ship out. As far as I'm concerned, he got to drop the patch notes.
I just feel like they need to add more fish because, let's see. There were 30
They
new
need
fish
to
added to
add
the game on the
fish.
final day of 2024. There are now 80 fish for you to guess with a new one each day. That can't be true, game inventor Rick Wallace, because there are 365 days in the year. So,
And how is it that fucking 50% of those 80 fish are just completely irrecognizable? You know what I'm saying? There has to be more recognizable stuff.
I think that we're just not that far into the game.
You think it's a
You know,
it's
like,
a
they're
lack
not
of
recognizable
knowledge of
to
the
us.
meta?
Yes.
Mm,
I think we just need to learn more fish.
right. We need to watch
And
like
think about
the tens beginner's guide.
We just need to watch like all of River Monsters, which has the best ending in all of reality TV show history because they just found every river monster. And they're like, well, I guess we don't have any more show to make.
Is that how it ended?
Yes. They were like, guys, we
They did
unironically
every
found
fish.
they found every single fish in that like inhabits a river in all of North America. And they were like, well,
They
I guess we're done.
completed the Pokedex in real
They
life.
did.
That's wild, man.
Honestly, they probably got the shiny charm and they just don't want us to know.
Did they do coral?
That's not a freshwater fish. They don't live in a river.
Why couldn't they expand to like the ocean? That was too big.
I think they had other plans, I guess. That would take like fucking forever.
Then keep making the show because people keep watching it, you know?
Well, I think also, like, you know, after the first, like, 2 or 3 years when they catch, like, all the easy little, like, oh, we live in a coral reef and I'm a fish. Once they catch, like, all the tropical fish and they got to go deeper, they get killed by a colossal squid, like, for sure. And then the show ends anyway, and it's very somber and sad.
I
and we
don't even
want
think
that.
you have to go that far. Like, I think you could do a whole year of episodes just based on the swampland around my apartment.
You think so?
I think you could get those microscope little
Dude.
glass sort of petri dish things. You take
That was
a
like
sample,
the highlight of high school for me.
and then you put it under the microscope and you see a little abject horror. And then, oh, this is an
You do.
episode, you know?
You go, oh, an amoeba. That's so neat. And then you look to your right a little bit and you see the most terrifying creature you've ever seen in your entire life, and he kills the amoeba.
Yeah. It's
It
some
cuts
shit
it clean in half.
some kid made on Spore when they were like
Right.
6.
And they all have names, and I can't remember any of them.
I think that could be a show in and of itself, man. The
ironic,
possibilities. Or
yeah.
why didn't they do like competitions? You know,
I'd probably watch that.
like what if it was like the fish race, the Great Fish Race of
What are they just like put the
now.
fish in a maze?
They have them race, and they do challenges,
Like math.
math, history.
We have them see how quickly they can figure out how to open the fish doorbell.
Right. Here's something I was actually thinking about the other day, unironically, and you can't laugh because this is a very
You
serious
can't
thought.
fucking say that.
I can because it's a serious thought, and I want you
Okay,
to
okay.
answer this question very seriously.
But now I'm gonna have like a predisposition in my head that this is gonna be the stupidest question you've ever asked.
It's not going to be this. This is a mind-altering question, perhaps, and some
Okay.
people may categorize that as stupid, but I would categorize it as seeking the truth.
Okay.
Do you think there has ever been a fish?
I didn't do anything. I'm trying to keep it together. I need this.
I'm sorry. This is a stupid question. Do you think there's ever been a fish that has watched an entire movie, like start to finish?
You know what? I'm not sure.
I was thinking about this. I was like, there must be plenty of people with fish tanks in their homes that have like put on Star Wars or something. You know
My
what I
fish
mean?
have seen a lot of Valorant. That's for sure.
Yeah. But have they like sat and stared at the Valorant the whole time that it was on? You know, maybe not like the whole time, but like 90% of a movie.
Hmm. You know, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think that counts as having watched a movie. If you see 90, you know, you got to look at TikTok at least twice while the movie's
Right.
on.
Yeah. You're not gonna watch the whole thing anyway. You
No,
blink
no.
like for at least 2 minutes of showtime anyway.
If the director wanted to keep my attention for the whole length of the movie, he would have put, fun little QR codes and stuff that pop up so I can like scan them and win $1,000.
Yeah, like Subway Surfers.
Yeah, they could put Subway Surfers in 1/3 of the frame of every shot.
Think about how much better Endgame would have been if it had that.
Yeah. Or like I had to continue the bit. I had to name a movie and I couldn't do that within a reasonable amount of time. So we're just going to move
That's
on.
okay. That's all right.
I think there might be a fish that has watched a movie.
I agree with you. I might even reckon, I think there's probably tens of fish.
What? No,
Not
way.
hundreds. I don't think there's that many,
Not
but I think
hundreds.
there's enough people with enough fish that I think have probably watched. Does this count as like listening to it too? Does it have to be out loud or do they just have to see it?
No, they have to see it.
Okay.
I don't think
Then
fish hear stuff.
Really?
Let's not go down that rabbit hole for right now. We could say that for another day.
I have no idea.
I
guess I've never thought about that. I feel like it's not very like essential to their existence.
No, right? Like,
because like the surface that they live in is thicker than the one that we do, so they can just sense vibrations like around them and move based on that. Like
it's also like straight, so you could just like see.
You mean like their eyes are on the side of their head?
Yeah, like they can just see most of it.
Yeah, they could probably see.
I would
like,
imagine
like 240 degrees, like in front, like like.
But I think there's probably like 4 fish that have watched a movie.
I think so too.
And then the follow-up question naturally is what movies? I think one of them's got to be
Star Wars.
Maybe the Minecraft movie.
I don't think that's true because that's not out yet. So unless someone brought their fish to
no,
the
but it
Minecraft
might
movie,
happen. I think that one might happen. The
if you
intersection
want,
of people who have fish as pets and want to watch the Minecraft movie in the comfort of their own home.
You think it's very hot?
It's not a perfect circle, but there's a lot of people that fit that bill.
I'll have you know that I don't want to watch that movie ever again, but to complete your wish, I would do it.
Yeah.
With my fish.
Maybe you should make your fish watch a movie and then see what that does.
For them.
For science.
Maybe I put the movie in front of them, but then I watch them watch the movie to see if they like look away.
I should have looked up if there was like studies about this.
I have a very strong feeling that there isn't.
We don't know.
But you want to know what, man? I have to do a thesis. So
okay.
This seems promising. What would we find out from the fact that fish watch movies? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe they have some element of consciousness that we're unaware of.
All right, well, here's what we're going to do, okay?
I don't know what that would add to our human experience, but, it'd be cool, I guess.
We got to wrap up the fish part of this episode because people are already clicking out, okay? So here's what we're going to do to wrap it up.
Why I love fish.
This is a new segment that we're starting right now. It's called Henry's Weekly Fish Fact. Up.
Like that was the end of the segment, or I now have to say
No, you have to give us a fact now.
Okay.
And this will be our way to rival sort of the monopoly that game inventor Rick Wallace, this evil Rick Wallace has on the market. Henry's Fish Fact. We can get like theme song later.
We'll have like a little jingle to go along with it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for telling me this now, because now I can like prep one instead of doing one on the spot like I am right now. But There is a fish native to the southern hemisphere of the United States, of the world, of the globe,
Yeah.
and that people say, called I think they're just called like walking fish, and their fins are like strong enough and structured in a way that they can walk out of the water for like up to 2 hours. So there are fish that can live on land for a little while, and then they go back into their home. But they're not mammals. They don't have lungs. They can just hold their breath really well.
Thanks for listening to Henry's Fish Fact.
Fuck you, Rick Wallace.
Fuck you, Rick Wallace, man.
Hey, Rick Wallace, I just want you to know if you're listening to this, I don't feel that way. And if you want to connect, I would love to learn more about fish.
Hey, we would love to have you on the show, Rick Wallace.
I unironically would love that so much.
We'll shoot him an email.
You want to know? I bet he'd respond.
I think so.
Just because he's an inventor doesn't mean he's untouchable.
Right. He is a genius, but...
he's no John Cena. You know, he didn't have a PR team, I don't think.
Well, you can't get in touch with John Cena because you never know where he is.
Oh, right.
That's kind
well,
of
but someone does.
him.
That's what the team is for. Like, we don't know. He could be in my room right now. I have no idea.
The team just walks around with their hands out like, John Cena, where are you?
John.
Marco.
Hey, get down from there. And he goes, I'm actually over here. And they go, oh, John. It's like a good one. They probably love him. He's probably a hoot at parties.
I did want to ask you, we are graduating. We've survived college. It happened.
Yeah.
What, let's make a little sort of survival guide of all of the things that we've learned through our journeys to inform, but also to inform the people.
Protect, maybe.
The things that they should know. What's one thing you wish you thought about before you went to college?
You should come up with, okay, I'm going to restart actually. You should live with another person. You should have a roommate. Not because, yes, I think this is regardless of if you live on like in-campus housing or
right. Some people are going to be in dorms forever, but
some people will be in dorms the whole time. Some people will never be in dorms, and some people will do a little bit of both. But you should always try and live with someone. One, because it's good for you, and you should learn how to work with another person. Because you'll learn that other people are impossible to work with, and it'll just make living alone so much better.
It's a good living experience, yeah.
But also, it's just a good, I don't know, you might end up being good friends with your roommate, which is fun.
Or you might be mortal enemies, which is cool to have one of those also.
Yeah, you could have both, because I have roommates that I love and roommates that I think I would love to like, watch stand on hot coals.
Okay.
You know? But that's neither here nor there.
It's mostly
so I don't know. I think it's just a good living experience. It's a good experience to have, especially like if you don't have like siblings or anything. I think prepping to like live with someone else is something that you should do.
That it is good advice, but I wanted more about college specifically.
I think that is about college. You have to live somewhere in college.
Well, yeah.
And also,
I meant
if you live
like when I was in high school.
About education.
Yeah. When I was in high school, during my senior year, they had a guy come in and talk to us. I don't remember why he was important. I think he was just a guy who had gone to college, and he had also gone to our high school, and so he's back now, which is cool.
And that was it.
And I think those were his qualifications. But he came in, and he was one of those guys where like he was super buff, and he was wearing a suit that was so tight on him, so you could see all of it.
And you were like, wow. That's how I'm gonna look.
The talk was specifically to like give us advice, because I was like, I went to a college prep, like specifically high school. So his advice was like, you're seniors, you're going to college now, or most of you are. So like, here's some advice for you, day one when you get on campus. And I'll never forget this. One of the pieces of advice he gave us was, he was like, on the first day of every class, show up 30 minutes early. And then you'll see the professor at the front of the room, fiddling around, like getting started, work and stuff like that. You go right up to them, you outstretch your arm, you shake their hand, and you introduce yourself first and last name. And you say,
Important.
and you ask 2 questions about the syllabus, which is, I think, utterly an insane thing to do. It's a horrible piece of advice.
I honestly don't know that I agree with that, but
Well, here's why I don't agree with it, because I've never had a professor who showed up 30 minutes early to their class.
Me either. In fact, I'm usually there first.
Yeah.
But sure.
If
Maybe
anything,
he went to like military school.
the reason to show up early, I think, is to get your seat. You gotta get your seat.
Yes.
And there's no seating chart unless
And
you
you
have
wanna
a
know what?
fucking bitch for a professor, which sometimes you will.
I have never had a seating chart, but my education is very atypical. So I'm going to leave
Yeah.
that at that. You might have a seating chart.
Sometimes you could have a seating chart, so you gotta think
You
about
could.
that. But most of the time you're not. And so it's first come, first serve.
So are we saying that the piece of advice is that you should walk up to every one of your professors first day, 30 minutes early, and introduce yourself?
Here's the thing about the syllabus. Unless it is absolutely dog shit, you shouldn't have any questions about it. Because it's all
You really shouldn't.
It's all legal bullshit. Like, it's all stuff that the teachers legally are required to tell you when you are registered to take the course.
You should probably read like the first one, but then once you've read one, you've read them all.
Yeah, basically.
You know, it's
you,
kind of
you
just
get
like,
the
hey,
same
this
5
is
pages of like, hey, if you are sexually harassed, then like this is the office to go to. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, or if you do the harassing, you will be expelled.
and then there's
which
the
is good.
obligatory like, don't cheat. It's bad for you and for
Yeah.
airplanes and stuff like that.
And some colleges will probably have like an AI use, like
Yeah, now there's
rule or
AI.
whatever now.
You can't use AI. People just ignore it though anyway.
Yeah, that is true.
So I can't really give you advice on that one. I apologize, but
I think ChatGPT could get at least 90% of the degrees offered at my university.
that might be true.
Maybe not that. Maybe 80. We'll say 80.
I think it can do 80% of the degrees at about 80% well levels.
I'm going to say 75. I think it's like a C student
Okay.
sometimes.
Sometimes. It
I think it
depends.
depends. Like, I don't think it could do my degree, but that's just because it wouldn't be good at like making
doesn't know how to
images.
3D model.
No, it doesn't.
It can't really.
But it will eventually.
It can't go to Lowe's and buy plywood and then glue it together to make a
Nope.
block and then use the what is it? It's the penis machine or whatever to.
I was waiting for you to call it the consensual non-consent machine. 'Cause
Oh,
it
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
Called the CNC.
It can't. AI can't do that yet. Yet.
It can't. That's true.
One genuine piece of advice I do have is for exams, and it's that you should probably study for them.
Wow.
Because
I don't know about you. High school was like not super easy, because that's not fair to say, because for some students, high school is really difficult.
yeah,
And like I had some difficult classes in high school that I definitely had to study for. But like
the
your run of the
amount
mill,
of
like
work that you have to do for
amount of
a
work you have to
college
do
exam
is-
compared to a high school exam, there's really
It's
no
a lot more.
comparison for sure.
it's a lot more.
And this all depends on major, obviously, but it's like.
Yeah, if you're majoring in like communications, you're like good. You could just do.
But
like,
most people I
not
know
much.
still had to do calculus. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so. You
Yeah,
should
if you're in like
study.
business, some of your classes will be really hard, but most of them will be chill.
You should also. This is the time in your life where you should make a calendar.
You should.
And
make a
I know,
calendar.
like, I'm an awful human being for this because I have my entire life scheduled down to the minute sometimes.
I don't
But
think
like,
that's a bad thing.
put your classes in your calendar, because then and like do in advance, like go to where the holidays are, and then like don't put classes there.
Yeah, and you'd be like, oh look, I don't have class this day.
Yeah, you want to know what you have to show up for and what you don't. Because another piece of advice I have is don't show up to all your classes.
I
are some
unfortunately
classes that
can't
you
share that
don't
sentiment,
need
but I
to show
do
up
think
to.
that that's true.
There are some you don't need to show up to. And they
That
don't
is
tell
true.
you this.
They don't. Because every professor's like, my class is the most important class you'll take the entire time you're here, which is weird that they all say that, because that just can't possibly be true.
No, it can't possibly be true.
Statistically, that is impossible.
I will say, there are several classes where I went for the first week of the class. And then after that, you're like, oh, this isn't worthwhile for me in any way. I could just like do homework. I mean, here's the other strat. You can still go to the class if you like still have to be on campus or whatever, but like just don't even bother paying attention. Like just do homework and shit. None of the professors are going to kick you out. It doesn't matter what you're doing. As long as you're not making pancakes in class, I think you're chill to do basically anything.
As long as you're there and they can't like maybe front facing see what you're doing. You're like,
yeah. Which is why maybe you want to show up early and grab a seat, not in the back, because then you're targeted for if they want to pick on people for questions. So you want to sit in like the sort of 50% to 75% range. And then there's, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of another good piece of advice.
I think if you can somehow, not like, I don't think you need to go into your class 30 minutes early and introduce yourself to your professor, because again, they're just not going to fucking be there.
Here's a tip. Most of your professors are fucking ass.
That is true. I think it depends.
Just true. It's just true. Most of them will be, okay, so let me be more specific. 33% of your professors will be horrible human beings who do not deserve a job.
I could tell you right now how to determine if they suck or not.
33% will be...
There's an equation, actually, that makes it super easy to figure out.
33% will be sort of a mid-range that, like, they're not great, but they're not bad, so you show up anyway. Right. And, maybe sometimes they have, like, a LinkedIn connection for you, which could be cool.
They might, and it might be really good.
And then the other 33% of people who are, like, clinically insane, but they're, like, really good teachers.
Yeah. Well, I think it depends on how many people are in your class. I think the ratio is just the more people are in your class, like the less you should care about developing a relationship with your professor.
Oh, yeah.
Because the less they're going to notice that you're there anyway.
Yeah.
Like I have the privilege of having a lot of really small classes. So a lot of my professors are like, we get not one-on-one time, but like they know who I am. And if they saw me, they'd be like, oh, hey, Henry, like, you're from my structures class. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Like, you could make yourself stand out if you want, and like you can answer questions in class, and your professors will remember you if you do that. And like, sure, all of your other classmates will hate you, but when you get an 85 on the exam and they all get a 20, then you won't feel as bad.
Right.
But it's up to you if you want to like develop relationships with your professors. I think there are benefits and also drawbacks.
Here's the thing.
But the drawbacks are just that you'll get called on in class.
Yes. But then if you are called on, you always have the out of like, you can make a joke and then you don't have to actually answer the question because you weren't paying attention to begin with.
It's true.
And if you just make a joke, you're free. And now they go over to Sarah,
Cindy Lou,
Sarah.
who wasn't paying attention.
Cindy Lou, who was snoo-hooing away on her desk because she was sleeping.
Oh, that's good. That was good.
But I'll provide a flip side to this perspective. I've had some small classes that are horrible because the professor, because it's more of like an intimate experience, they expect you to do a little bit more. They do bully you a little bit, but they expect you to do more because it's like sometimes if it's a subject that the professor actually cares about, they like force you to do more work. And it's like they expect you to participate. If the class gets small enough, it becomes a discussion thing. And discussion-based classes suck. Because you didn't do the reading.
I love discussion-based classes.
But what if you didn't do the reading?
That is true, because I do also rarely do it.
Yeah, so it's tough.
I don't have time for that. When you assign me a 200-page reading to be done by Friday,
yeah.
Even if I had no other classes, I still have to work.
Right.
I have a job. I have to buy groceries and eat so I don't die. If I didn't have to, I wouldn't do it.
The good thing I think is like a lot of professors are like, they get it. A lot of my professors are adjunct and they have like a regular day job and they can only teach from
good.
5 to 7:15. So they understand, and people will be like accommodating for like, if you're having trouble in a class, number one best thing you can do, either through office hours or through an email, just be like, yo dog, what's good? I'm in your fucking economics class. Ain't that dope, brother?
I love economics.
Cool thing about assignment 3 that I learned
is that I didn't do it.
Is that I'm having a little trouble. So maybe you give me, a little extra day for Papa Bear. And
PLZ?
We'll get that in and you won't even have to worry about it. You won't even like notice really,
I will say, like, college is a lot less serious than anyone who isn't in college makes it out to be.
My high school teachers for sure were like,
oh my God.
They were like,
you won't get away with that in college.
Fly in college. Bart.
I saw a kid once pour milk into a box of cereal in one of my lecture classes and eat it with a spoon all class, and my professor didn't say shit about it.
Yeah.
Like, no one cares.
The only time they're going to say shit about it is if you're in the fucking science lab. Food's not allowed in there, so you can't do that.
Yeah. It's unsanitary.
You can't wear open-toed shoes as well.
If you're wearing your fucking Birkenstocks into the lab, your ass doesn't belong there anyway. Get out. I'm sorry. It's just true.
It's true.
I don't care if you're a frat guy or a sorority girl. If you're wearing your Birks in the lab, you're just in the wrong spot.
No. Just
get
out while
straight.
You can.
Yeah.
But I think taking the horrible person that gave me that horrible advice in high school and flipping it on its head, a lot of professors, if you do want to establish some kind of relationship with them because they work at Ernst & Young and you really want to work at Ernst & Young.
And you really want to get paid the big bucks.
At Ernst & Young, where they pay for someone else to take the auditing exams for you because they do that there.
They do?
This is a big news article not that long ago, yeah. They were committing fraud. Anyway, if you want to commit fraud at Ernst & Young, what you can do is you can stop by your professor's office hours and ask about it.
What is Ernst & Young like what kind of business are they? What do they do?
They're one of the big 4 auditing firms.
Really?
You know the E&Y building downtown?
Nope.
Really? It's like one of the 3 buildings in Cleveland, man.
I'm sure that if I was like looking at it right now, I'd be like, oh yeah.
It says E&Y on it.
Thank you. Yes. But I mean, like,
that's the Ernst & Young building.
Usually what I remember about buildings.
Well, there's Key Tower. We know Key Tower.
I know. I love Key Tower.
Yes, everyone
Very
knows
familiar with
Key Tower.
Key Tower.
Well, that's one of the towers downtown, and then there's the E&Y building, and then there's like the Fifth Third building, I guess.
Yeah,
that's like kind of it.
Oh, this is their logo. Yeah, I'm gonna be straight up. I don't remember this shit.
That's crazy. It's like literally one of the 3. I'm not even like.
You're not even yanking my chain. Right
it's
now.
Just one of the 3 things, you know. But anyway,
this is not like a very interesting looking building, though.
No, but it is one of the taller buildings. It's part of the skyline for sure.
Okay, all right, guys. I'm sorry.
Look, what I'm trying to say is, if you go to a professor's office hours, it's so easy. You stop by, helpful. And even if you don't have anything to ask about, if you just you're walking to another class or something like that, and you know where the professor's office is, just stop by, go, yo, I'm in your fucking class, dog. And then they go,
I think there are some professors that if you said that to them, they'd be like, oh, cool. Like verbatim, if you said, yo, I'm in your fucking class, dog. they're like, I think they're like
Word
one
up.
out of every 10. And 1 out of every 10 people will be like, oh, sup, cool.
Yo, I loved your lecture yesterday, Professor B.
Because, like, when you're a professor, you're just going in, you're talking to, like, 90 kids, and, like, you don't really know any of them, and, like, you're just there to give your lesson brief and then leave. So if you want like a more personal relationship with your professor, you just want to learn more about the field that you're in or whatever the fuck they do.
Yeah, give him a quick
I feel like
fist bump.
most professors are like more than happy to be like, yeah, look, you're taking interest in like the profession or your major outside of my class, which shows
Exactly.
initiative, which people just like.
Yeah,
People like talking about stuff that they do. That's just a fact of life.
that's a fact of the matter, yo.
That's just a good way to make friends, like in general. It's just like you should just ask people what they do. People love talking about what they do. Why would they do it if they hated it? Well, maybe I shouldn't say that, but
Why don't you actually
people like talking
teach
about
us
what they
instead
do
of handing us a packet, yo?
They have to. That guy's so irritating.
You know the boy in a band, the one where it's like an Eminem sort of style rap song where he's like, it's not really Eminem, it's more what's the fucking loser guy from Michigan?
I
Fuck.
don't know another loser guy from Michigan.
The NF. There's like the
Oh.
Christian rapper who like doesn't swear and stuff like that, and he's like,
He's Christian?
depression is really bad for you. You know, that's like all of his songs.
Wow. And you want to know what? He kind of spit bars there.
But the boy in a band video where he's like, I was never taught what laws there are and stuff like that. He's British.
Yeah. He's aggressively English. It's sad.
But I can still remember dissecting a frog. Like, it's so stupid.
Right. It's like, yeah, man, I get what you're like trying to say, but it's not landing.
And you know that shit was true too, because he's a pedophile. Anyway.
He was unaware of what laws there were.
He was literally just unaware.
He was just being honest. We all thought, we were like, yeah, man, good message. I get that. But he was just talking.
I love that
preaching
video
his
so
truth.
much. He does like
It aged so well.
he does the quadratic formula, but like in his like
In,
sort
like, a
of
rap
rap
verse,
scheme.
doesn't he?
Yeah. And then he's like, "That's insane. That's absolutely insane." Like it's not that insane, man.
I'm going to
It's
have to
just
go
a
back and
formula.
watch this. I don't remember the whole song.
That's such a good video, man. It's fire. It's like the
That's
worst
it.
song of all time, but like
That's an internet all-timer.
yeah. That's all time for sure. I got some advice about the mess hall.
The food hall?
Yeah,
The mess hall.
the mess hall. What do you call it?
I don't, you know what, you're right. I guess I don't know. The cafeteria?
That's a young school thing.
The residence hall?
At
Food?
at
place.
college, that's the mess hall. We get messy.
You're
in
kind
there.
of, maybe you're right, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, we just called them their names.
Well, yeah.
Like, I never was like, oh, yes, I'm going to the lunch room.
I'm gonna go do my lunch in the lunchroom now. Do you guys want to hang? Do you guys want to
You guys
play
wanna
with
hang
me after?
Yeah.
I have a
Please.
dodgeball that we could, or a frisbee.
We could take turns throwing my one dodgeball at each other.
We could do the front of the poster college thing where we're the white
Yeah,
guys
dude.
throwing the frisbee in the
No,
field.
no. We need to find like a mixed race group of friends to go play like frisbee on the quad with.
One black person and one Asian person at least.
Yes, and then 5 white people,
Yes.
and we hang out. And one of the white people has to be like part of the LGBTQIA plus community in some way.
Yeah, they gotta have blue hair, so it's visible.
Yes.
The information is clearly communicated.
It has to, right? There's no other way to do it because all queer people look like that. It's true.
My advice
We
for
should
the
dye our
mess
hair.
hall is don't, if you can.
What do you mean by don't?
You should avoid it always.
Well, but like, I feel like honestly, if you eat like a normal amount of food, like if you're just like not, like if you don't really eat a lot, I feel like, yeah, it's probably not really worth it. But if you eat like a normal amount of food, eating at a dining hall, there it
Dining hall.
is.
That
Eating
makes
at a
more
dining
sense.
hall is like a way, I feel like it's a relatively good financial option.
Sure. It's always cheaper to cook for yourself, though. Always. And it's just a better life skill to build in the long term. On
I think
top
it's
of
not
that,
always cheaper depending on how much you eat, but yes,
okay, sure. That's
I
fair.
eat a lot.
That's fair, but most people are not D1 football players.
That's true. That is true.
And secondly, the food is ass. Always.
It is usually
It doesn't
ass.
matter. All campus restaurants are ass.
That's not true.
And it only takes a matter of time before you figure that out.
I think that there are some colleges in the United States that probably have decent dining options. We just don't go to either of them.
Okay.
And I mean either because there's probably like two.
Yeah. So
But,
generally speaking,
Generally, I would say yes. That's fair to say.
you
to
should
avoid
probably
them.
just avoid it. It's a better use of your time and money.
Yeah. But the Scott waffle fries go crazy if you go to Ohio State.
I mean,
My friends
sometimes
and I would
if
just go
it's
in there at the end of the
Friday-
week. We would just load up like they had like the takeout boxes. We would just put like we would get like 3 boxes like filled with fries.
Yeah.
That shit's gas.
I use it. We have like a place that's like, well, I want to call it by its name, but they just changed the name recently because they like lost the
Yeah, I heard-
branding to it.
Yeah, some guy invested in it, didn't he? It's called like Game Inventor Rick Wallace.
It's Game Inventor Rick Wallace Dining Hall, and it's basically like a Chipotle. It's like literally a Chipotle.
But they just have like sea bass.
But with just a different name, and it's just more expensive than Chipotle. I
Mm.
prefer it to Chipotle, but it's
Really?
more expensive, and it's always busier than a Chipotle.
Mm.
So like,
So like, what's the freaking point?
and
dude?
let me tell you, I know some of you are gonna go into the dining hall, and you're gonna be like, "This place has sushi," and you're gonna buy it.
No, don't eat it.
You're gonna find out why you don't do
Mm-mm.
that shit real quick.
It's like gas station sushi.
It's like not even gas station. It's like sewer sushi.
No, I think it's a
It's like
little
Lake
bit better
Erie
than
sushi.
gas station sushi.
You don't want to have Lake Erie sushi, man.
You would not. That would kill you.
It would be bad for you. The FDA does not recommend it.
No, they don't.
What's some other shit you gotta know when you go to college?
Avoid buying your textbook at every possible moment.
This is true. I've never bought a textbook. Or that's actually, I lied.
I think I bought one.
I bought one textbook for chemistry because the homework was, it was like an online textbook, and it was like,
That shit is so stupid.
the homework was, like the textbook had a website where the
Yeah.
homework was like quizzes, which you can only take if you buy the online
The textbook.
version of the textbook.
Which is so bullshit.
Which is the dumbest shit of all time because they have the institution access to the quizzes. So if they wanted to, they could just copy the quizzes and put it in Google form or whatever and do
They
the
could.
quizzes that way, and it would save every student in the class $300. But they don't
yeah,
care
there's
about
probably
you.
like a
And they never
professor that you
will.
have who wrote one of those books, and they're just like benefiting off of your education.
I had to do that as well at a class. It was a philosophy class where you had to buy,
You have to buy the
his
professor's
book.
book.
Yeah. That shit sucks ass. And he was like
I feel like
nice, and
there's
he
a
was 70
philosophical
years
question
old.
right there.
But like,
I think that
don't
might
make me
be-
do this. If it's your book, you should give it to me, to be honest.
Especially if it's in a philosophy class. You kidding me? That's like the most morally gray thing I've potentially ever heard.
Because I had the decency to sign up for your bullshit anyway.
Yeah.
You're lucky my ass is showing up to class in the first place.
Yeah. I'm already paying tuition. I have to be here. Your class is a requirement.
Well, it's like I could sign up for another class, man. I don't have to take
I could
your
take another
fucking
general
class.
education class. It doesn't have to be
I
philosophy
could have
1101.
taken philosophy 102 instead of philosophy 406, but
Right.
I took 406 for some reason.
It sounded interesting, I'm sure.
It sounded easier, and to be fair,
Mhm.
it was.
Oh, well, okay, then you're good.
I also didn't buy his book. I just didn't read it.
Oh, fair. Yeah.
And then I showed up and I didn't say anything. And I got an A. So
Good for you. So you won.
kind of, yeah. I had to deal
Okay.
with him though, which was annoying. He was nice, but his like homework was stupid and shit.
I told me it was stupid and dumb and stuff.
It was about like it was like professional ethics. It was like
Interesting.
here's what you have to do to make here's what you know.
profession.
It's like it was talking about like scientific ethics and like this was also 2 years ago, so I don't fucking remember shit. But it was like you know, one of the things in the book was like the people who made the airbag were sexist because they didn't think about women and they were lighter, and the airbag is strong.
I feel like that is true, though, is it not?
It is true, but I was like, I could be playing video games right now.
But then why are you at college? That's, you know what? That
Because there's this
is a great
stupid
piece of advice.
bullshit. It's the way the system works, man. Okay, I don't know why. Like, you should have some general education, obviously, but like,
Go to trade school. Trade school sounds really great.
yes, there are other options besides college. But like, if I am going to college, why do I have to take chemistry too?
What do you mean? You're a cybersecurity major. It makes perfect sense.
I objection, Your Honor. No, it fucking doesn't. I don't.
Why not?
And I'm pissed that I had to pay $300 for an online textbook to take quizzes that they could have made themselves. It's just because they're lazy and they don't want to. The department is lazy and they don't want to make the fucking quizzes themselves. So they're just like, the student can pay $200 because they're already paying thousands of dollars up here. Oh, I'm fucking Russian and I hate you. You know what I mean? My teacher was Russian. It's not.
Yeah, and he hated you.
She hated me.
So yeah. So I apologize.
Well, I don't know if she hated me that much because I didn't show up to class, but
I just feel like when you said hated me, I just assumed that it was a man.
that's fair.
Women don't hate.
They despise.
No, I just feel like. Actually, I was gonna say most of the female teachers I've had are like nicer, but that's just not true.
Yeah, the other piece of advice is like,
Everyone is equally evil.
maybe you don't gotta go to college. Maybe you can.
You definitely don't have to go to college. If you don't like think that you're ready, unless you're gonna major in communications or some form of business, you shouldn't go.
In which case, if you're gonna do that, just don't go, because those are also a waste of your time.
Communications is definitely a waste of your time. You're not gonna get a job that is enough to pay off your debt unless your parents pay for you to go to school.
Business is a coin flip, though.
Business is a coin flip. You'll either end up hella rich or you'll go into marketing.
You will be the steward of sort of a private equity firm, or you'll be working at Best Buy, which is fine.
Yes. It is fine. I love Best Buy.
I shop there sometimes.
I do too.
And that's a fact about me. I took like a film class this semester. I was gonna say this earlier when we were talking about woke pronouns and stuff. But the blue hair.
Is that today? Oh,
I had that thought
when. Because only people with blue hair take film class.
The film class, like, I just picked something easy. This is also another general piece of advice. You should aim to, whenever you have the ability, you should take easy classes and you should take online classes, because you're gonna have a lot of shit to do, and if you're able to like offload, some amount of your work, that's gonna be a big thing in terms of like keeping your schedule all not
you also
stupid, crazy, insane.
I will say, having a calendar, like, if you unironically, I think if you block your time out like down to the hour of like, I have class this time, I'm gonna eat this time, like I want to be in bed by this time, I want to work out at this time. If you can keep your life consistent, it will unironically make your life so much better.
Yes.
Because I don't do that, and I'm miserable all the time.
I put in my calendar, I block out an hour, and I say, I'm only going to work on this assignment. And then, like, if I don't do that, it's like half of the time is spent me, just like not wanting to do it, and
dilly-dallying.
Like opening and closing tabs on my browser for 30 minutes before I actually start doing it. And then when I do start doing it, I
can't have a messy workspace.
When I do start doing it, it's like I'm just trying to get it done, so I do it super fast, and it's like not great or whatever, or it's not as good as it could be, rather.
Right.
But when I block the time, I'm like, well, the time is blocked. Like, I've already told people that I'm busy for this time, so I have this time, so I might as well like use the whole time to, get it done the right way. So it's helpful. But the thing I was going to say was, I have this film class, and this isn't a piece of advice. I just think it's funny where you know, like there's all this talk recently with like Trump, and he's like getting rid of woke, you know, because it's taking over.
Thank God.
Finally,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know where it's taking over, but it's bad.
Well, it's taking over in my film class. I'll tell you why.
Oh, it
Because
is?
the big project of the class was like you just have to you have to watch some movies about like a director you're given, and you just present on it, and that's it. And the director I got was Mexican filmmaker Alfonso Cuarón, which I think is how you say his name, and he makes good movies. You should watch them, but some of his films deal with LGBTQ identity related issues, which I thought it was an interesting theme to explore. You know, I think he explores it very well. And it was interesting to see that in his movies. And I was like, oh, that you know, it's a cool little thing, you know, getting like a little bit more representation in there. And like all the directors that were picked for the presentation were like in different, you know, they all sort of had different backgrounds. So there was like an Asian guy, and there was the Mexican guy, and there's, you know, people from all over. So I was like, you know, it's cool to get like some representation in there. That's nice. But then the presentation started, and all the directors that were chosen had some LGBTQ related, like everyone had a slide on that. You know what I mean? And by the like 8th presentation, I was like, "Oh my fucking god, here comes another." Like the one of the directors was the twins who did The Matrix. They're both trans.
Really?
Yeah. And there were a bunch of other people, but by the 8th presentation, because I have to sit through all of them, because they were picked in random order.
Your butt last.
The presentations were picked in random order, and we were last, so I had to sit through all of them. I couldn't just leave. And they were all about fucking, it's all some big thing, it's the LGBT, and I'm not like, I don't want to come off as like someone who's like, you know, like this isn't important or whatever, right? Like I'm an ally, you know what I mean?
I mean, I would hope so.
I'm an ally, and I'm part of it. I'm an ally to the club that I am also a member.
Right.
But it was just so, I was like, by the 8th presentation, you can understand, you know, seeing the 8th slide on LGBTQ representation in this person's movies, and I'm just like, oh my god, I need to graduate right now, man. Get me out of here.
Like, it's never like an interesting or like relatable experience. It's just like, oh, and also one of the characters in my movie, they like dudes, and they're a dude.
Well, sometimes it's like the centerpiece of the plot.
Oh, really? Okay, all right. Well, I mean, that's like a little bit more interesting.
Other times it was like there was one director who did like a lot of like drag stuff and stuff like that. But it was all like, and the professor is non-binary, so like I assume picked all of these people on purpose.
On purpose, yeah, of course.
Probably,
which is fine.
Like, you know, the foremost thing was like, you know, I want to pick movies that I actually like, which is like fine, right? I was just like, oh my god. And I don't think I'm being too like, you know.
No.
Like it's annoying, but it's also not that big of a deal. But it's like, it would have been nice to just do like fucking Steven Spielberg or something. You know what I mean? We could talk about like the big figures as well. Not that the people that we didn't, or that we did talk about weren't big figures, but like, you know. Whatever. None of this shit matters.
Maybe not in the same.
None of this shit matters.
That's okay.
I'm just complaining because I like doing it.
I think that's like what most of what we do is. That's good.
This is all to say, my final piece of advice is that you should go to the school at the University of Austin, Texas, which is all funded by Republican billionaires. And it takes woke away from the classroom. Where you can think freely there. That's the school that you should go to.
I don't think you should go there.
I think you should go there because I saw an interview with the students who go there, and they said they think this is a some sort of MAGA school where we talk about Donald Trump, you know? But actually, you know, we talk about, this is things that you don't get at other institutions. They talk about both sides, actually, at this university.
Interesting.
Isn't
Do
that
they
cool?
now?
They talk about both sides. Because normally, at I think their like exact wording was like at closed institutions, you don't get both sides, you know?
I think you do.
You only get the liberal side.
I don't think that's true. And maybe that's just because I go to like I don't know, I go to Ohio State and we have to accept government funding. So they're actually being super not cool right now. But
Yeah.
took away my fucking professor's research funding. Stupid bitches. Whatever.
But they brought back his free speech. Isn't that beautiful?
No. I think they actually took it away. But that's okay. I wouldn't want to speak out against the government because that's bad, I think.
Right. No, that's like 1984, man. It's fucked up.
Yeah, which is a book that only liberals read.
Only liberals.
It's a
read it.
parody.
Well, actually, you don't get it because 1984 is really about how the far right is actually good. And it's about that.
It's like Animal Farm.
It's like Animal Farm, where the far right are the good people.
They are. It's true. They're nice guys.
Everyone knows the pigs in Animal Farm are very nice and empathetic to the struggles of the everyman.
They are. They are nice. Why are you saying it like they're not?
It's because some people don't know, and they have to
okay.
be. They have to be told things.
You have to be educated.
They have to be edumastupicated. I don't really know what I was trying to say there. Okay. As long as you understand, then it's fine, I think.
Yeah, man.
One last piece of advice.
Don't fucking go to college. It's such a waste of money.
But if you have
a nice
to,
day. But if you have
to,
don't study communications either.
Don't do that. It's bad.
You should look at do something cool that other people don't do.
Right.
Go into STEM, but don't be a computer scientist.
Be a woman in STEM.
Being a woman in STEM is advantageous, but I don't know that it will be for much longer. So that sucks.
Oh, so maybe wait 4 years.
Maybe wait. Well,
wait 4 years to be a woman in STEM. Maybe just be a woman in agriculture or something for right now.
Yeah. You be a woman in robotics and make a big mech suit and then kill all the men.
Yeah.
That'd be metal as hell. Or you could just write a book about a woman who makes a mech suit and then kills all the men. And that would be equally cool.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a book that has mechs in it, but I can't.
Daemon Ex Machina.
That's not a book. What did we learn today?
We learned that fish are bad and evil and we hate them.
And so is Rick Wallace.
And so is Rick Wallace. And I learned that fish are bad and evil at school. So maybe it's not all bad. Maybe school's not all bad.
School isn't all bad, but you have to look out for the goblins that live in the tunnels under the school. Okay, goodbye.